Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Welcome to We Reflect the Light newscast, where we keep the original nation informed by identifying current events and future news through an unsealed biblical perspective. I'm Nicolette Hodge, here with our group panel, and today we will be discussing the war in the Middle East, its outcome, the key participants, and how the result of the war in the Middle East will impact, will affect the original Black man and original Black woman. We will also examine our vision, the obstacles standing in our way, and what must be done to overcome them as we move forward to achieve unity and make our exodus of America. All right, sisters and brothers. The war in the Middle East is in full action, and the unsealed book of Revelations identifies the war in great detail. Brother Amir, who is involved and what is the outcome of the war?
Yes, sister. So currently, the war in heaven, which is located in the Middle East, is on and it's underway. And the key participants in the war in heaven, which is in the Middle East, are Michael and his angels, and they're going to go to war with the dragon and his angels. See, Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 through 9 reveals and identifies the war in heaven and who's involved in the war in heaven. So let's take a look and see what Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 through 9 reveals. Verse 7, and occurred war in the heaven, the Michael and the angels of him, of the to war with the dragon, and the dragon warred, and the angels of it. Now, brothers and sisters, to identify who Michael is Master Farad Muhammad, and the angels of him are Iran and Syria. They are Master Farad Muhammad's witnesses. And that takes us to verse 8. And not it proved strong, not but place was found of them yet in the heaven. So we're going to see in verse 9 who was defeated and who was victorious in the war in heaven, which is in the Middle East. Verse 9, and was thrown the dragon, the great, the serpent, the archaic, the being called devil, and the Satan, the making to err, the being inhabited whole. He was thrown into the earth, and the angels of him with him were thrown. Verse 9 reveals that Michael and his angels were victorious in this war. And the dragon and his angels were defeated. See, we have to understand that the dragon is the house of Saud, in other words, Saudi Arabia, and the angels of the dragon are Britain, America, and false Israel. So verse 9 goes to show you that the dragon and his angels were defeated in this war that is taking place in heaven, which is in the Middle East.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Amir. So, sisters and brothers, this is where we're at right now in time, and this is the outcome of the war. At any moment, any day, the dragon and his angels will be defeated in this war in the Middle East. And now we're going to get into more details about the outcome of the war and how this is going to affect us, sisters and brothers. All right, there are those who call themselves Jews. They claim they are the true seed of Abraham. Brother David, will you identify this group and tell us how the war will turn out for them?
Yes, ma'am, sister. So you have these individuals, which is false Israel, like the sister shared, claiming to be the true seed of Abraham, claiming to be God's chosen people. But we know from the scripture, it tells you exactly who they are. In Revelations chapters 2 and 3, uh, verse 9, both chapters. Okay, so it says here, it says, I have known of you the tribulation and the poverty, but rich you are. And it says, and the blasphemy, which is a lie, out of the one saying Jews, excuse me, to be themselves, and not they are, but synagogue of the Satan. So it's telling you right there that one saying themselves to be Jews, they're not. They're Satan. The ones who have synagogues, they are the ones who are Satan. Then it even clarifies it even further. In the next verse in chapter 3, it says, I am giving out of the synagogue, again, right? Synagogue of the Satan, of the ones saying themselves Jews to be, and not they are, but they are lying, which clarifies that they're lying about being God's chosen people, that they are not the true seed of Abraham, that they are in fact Satan. And it said, know them by their works. And it said that Satan will be masquerading as an angel of light. So he will be pretending to be God's people. But in fact, he was exactly the opposite. He was against God and his people. And he was the one who had stolen their identity. So during this time, like the brother shared, when Michael's and his angels go to war with the dragon's angels, we know who's victorious. It's Michael and his angels. And the dragon and his angels are defeated. So during this time, during the defeat, American Britain will be kicked out, which isolates false Israel. And that puts them in a position where they're surrounded by armies. And it says, when you see Jerusalem, right? When you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, know that their destruction is near. Well, who controls Jerusalem? Jerusalem is the capital of what? False Israel. So if you put it in its proper context, it's saying when you see false Israel surrounded by armies, know that their destruction is near. Not redemption, not their salvation, their destruction. So this is what's going to happen to false Israel. Once this event kicks off and American Britain's kicked out and they're isolated, they're going to be destroyed, which is an abomination because it says when God placed them in their land, his people, right? They are not to be uprooted or removed, which is an indication that they were false, that they were not who they claimed to be, and it be made manifest to the world that they were indeed Satan.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother David. All right, so sisters and brothers, as Brother David has expressed, false Israel will be destroyed. And that is a part of the outcome of the war in the Middle East. False Israel is one of the dragon's angels. So we're going to focus on this next portion, how this is going to affect us right here. The war in the Middle East has already disrupted America's economy, sisters and brothers. So, Sister Fatima, will you identify what will happen right here in America as a result of them losing the war in the Middle East and getting kicked out? Also, how will this outcome affect the original nation?
Yes, ma'am. Assalamualaikum. This war is going to affect the black man and woman here in America. significantly. Now, as Brother David shared, false Israel has stolen the original nation's identity. So we have to understand the plan for our destruction due to this, right? So we have a nation who has stolen our identity. That means that we got to understand that they are going to make sure that you never find that out, right? Because if you was to find that out, then you know who you are, right? So we have to understand that false Israel, they are in control of everything that you watch, everything that you're listening to, sisters and brothers. They're in control of the media, the celebrities, everything to keep you distracted 100% from understanding your true vision, which is complete separation, the Abrahamic covenant, getting out of this land, sisters and brothers, back to your land, right? So this nation is holding us down 100% from rising. And the scriptures tells us that they will be, in fact, destroyed. Because, like I shared, they're claiming to be us, but that's not who they are. They've stolen our identity, and they don't meet any description that it speaks of God's people, right? They're not even in the land that it speaks about, that, excuse me, our nation will return to, which is Arabia. So that alone should tell you that they are liars. And like the scripture shared, they're going to be destroyed. So that alone is going to be the shock to the whole planet, sisters and brothers, because this is what they have in their minds as God's people. These are the people who they've been blessing. Because it says that when you bless God's people, you'll be blessed. And those who curse God's people will in fact be cursed. And they think that they're blessing God's people, but they're not, sisters and brothers, they're not. And when false Israel goes down, that's going to crush that whole narrative that they are God's people, because it shares that they will not be uprooted. On top of that, it shares God's people will be in peace. And that's not what you see on your television today, sisters and brothers. You see war, right? So when false Israel goes down, that's going to lift that weight that's been holding the original nation down from rising off of us. Because, like I shared, they're the reason why we're being held down. Because they're making sure that you never realize your true vision and keep pushing this American dream that's going to come to an end, sisters and brothers. A dream is not real. And that is why they have you pushing it, because they said a people without a vision will perish. So they make sure that you never know your vision. And your vision is the Abrahamic covenant. So like I shared, once that weight is lifted off of us, that's going to give us the opportunity to rise as that mighty nation that the scriptures shares that we will rise as, right? That they fear would happen, right? So, sisters and brothers, once false Israel, it shared when Jerusalem is surrounded by armies, know that their destruction is near, right? So that means that they're going to, like I shared, they know, they read the scriptures, right? They understand, you know, the idea was taking place. So they have plans. And their plan is to attack us all, right? All blacks. And during this time, that's what they're going to do. Attack all blacks. This includes their demon offspring children. They're going to be attacking all blacks. And it's shared that you're going to have to flee. And you can't turn around and go get your babies. That should tell you how serious the time is going to be. Unprecedented time, sisters and brothers. A time like no other. Now, it was asked, how is this going to affect us, right? The black man and woman here in America. Because first off, we're here in America. And it's going to be a total economic collapse here. Extreme famine is going to break out, sisters and brothers, due to this. And we have to understand that America needs oil for everything that they do in this reality. In order to run this economy successfully, you need oil. That is America's lifeline, the oil. And once that's cut off, they have nothing, right? They have no more power. They need oil for their military to fight war. They need oil for lights, gas, transportation, everything, sisters and brothers. So it's like I said, it's going to be a total economic collapse here. Something that America has never experienced, which is why this is unprecedented times that's approaching us today, right? A time that we've never experienced before, sisters and brothers. A complete famine, no food, no medicines, sisters and brothers, for people who are on medications and insulin, all these things that you need, you won't have. Unprecedented times. You won't be able to call the cops. Let me call the ambulance. Let me go to the hospital. No one will be safe during this time. This time is going to be so serious. It shares men's hearts will fail from fear, from what's to come. Sister Nicolette, can you bring that scripture back up? It says, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. So, sisters and brothers, we're focusing on the fact that it said hearts will be failing from fear for looking after those things which are coming, right? Meaning they haven't come yet. And that alone is going, just the thought of it, knowing that this is what's about to happen, is going to cause people's hearts to fail. So that alone should tell you the seriousness of the times that's approaching us. Now, sisters and brothers, like I said, there'll be no food for your children to eat, for you to eat. Sisters and brothers, it says it's going to be a complete famine. And these devils, we don't understand how we don't understand the true powers of our enemy because we have never seen them in their true light. We only seen them waving hi, bye to us. We don't know who they truly are because they're faking. You have to understand that, sisters and brothers, because during this time, they're going to show you those true colors. And they plan on classifying you and me as food. They put you in the Constitution as 3/5 of a human because they prepared for this time to classify you as food, sisters and brothers, to eat during this famine. And also says that they will not only be eating you, they'll be eating their own children, the flesh of their own sons and daughters, friends, sisters and brothers. No one will be safe during this time. That's how serious this time is that's approaching us very soon. And we, the Black man and woman, are right here in America where all these things are about to take place. Now, sister and brother, like I shared, we're going to rise as a mighty nation during this time because there will be no more distractions. There'll be no more TV. There'll be no more jobs to go to work, keeping you busy 24/7. You're going to be focused on your lives, sisters and brothers. And during that time, we are going to come together and unite. And we have to understand that they've lied and told us that, we're living in ancient Babylon and all these things, that the scriptures are past tense. However, sisters and brothers, that is in fact a lie because we are living out the scriptures. We are living out Revelations. And we have to understand that our unity, us coming together, is what's going to get us through this tribulation that's about to approach us. Now it shares that, well, sisters and brothers, Revelations, we have to understand that Revelations is the Injil. And the Injil is the mind that you will need during this time, right? This mind is your map that you need to escape this reality. On top of applying your nature, which are the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam, and us coming together in Hajj, unity, sisters and brothers, because it says that during this time, we'll be doing exploits, right? So that should tell you that we did achieve that, right? And it said, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That doesn't mean that there'll be no weapons formed against you. It said they won't prosper, right? And that means that during that time, us applying our nature, coming together as one body, we will be protected, right? But that's something that our nation is going to have to, we're going to have to come together and understand that we are one body, and without each other, we're nothing, right? When one fails, we all fail. So during this time of unprecedented trouble that's approaching us, men's hearts will fail from fear, meaning It said children will be gray-headed during this time. Imagine the stress that a child have to be under to be gray-headed as a child. There's no running to mommy, running to daddy, because mommy and daddy's going to be trying to eat them. No hope, sisters and brothers. That's the time that's approaching us, which is why it's so serious for our nation to come together. As the scripture said we would, as that mighty nation. Because that is going to be our only way that we're going to get out of here, sisters and brothers. That's how this is going to affect us, the black man and woman here in America.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Brothers and sisters, we're going through the times of unprecedented trouble. However, us applying discipline, which is part of unity, unity is part of discipline, that is our protection. So as Sister Fatima highlighted the point that it doesn't mean that there won't be any weapons formed against us. It's the fact that those weapons will not prosper. So that should be motivation and reassurance that we're going to fulfill and accomplish our mission. With that being said, Brother Malik, the original nation has a door out of America's destruction. Will you identify our vision, those blocking our vision, and what we must do to fulfill our vision? All right, I think you're on mute. Can you hear Brother Malik? You can't hear? All right.
Yes, ma'am. Our vision is the Abrahamic covenant. It is verse 18 of chapter 15 of Genesis. In that same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. This leaving America, returning to our land is our vision. Our vision is going home to where we can produce our own reality out of our mind. A place where we will have freedom, justice, equality, the things that we've been denied here in the land of our affliction. Our enemies are working overtime to keep us from understanding what our vision is so that we are unaware of our vision. So our vision is being blocked by all our enemies in unison. From every elevated place, we are being attacked to keep us from understanding our vision. We're being distracted in many ways and always by our enemies, so that once again that we will not understand that we have a doorway out. Our vision is being blocked specifically by the chief demon, Louis Farrakhan, Legion, Louis Eugene Grounds, who has turned the NOI backwards, who is a Caucasian white man in black skin, whose father is a Portuguese Jew, a white Portuguese Jew, no, a Caucasian white Portuguese Jew from Barbados. Louis Farrakhan is a direct seed of the synagogue of Satan. And he is the son of perdition, the son of hell, the man of sin who is sinful by nature, that sits in the temple of God. That means that is sitting in the Nation of Islam, claiming that he is God. So Louis Farrakhan is calling God a lie. He's against the Abrahamic covenant. The covenant shares we're returning home. We have a land that has been given to us by God. So Louis Farrakhan shares that we're staying here in America. He loves America. He does not want to see anything happen to America. He wants to make America great. And hold up. He said, make America great again. That's a that's a direct when was America ever great? Especially to the original black man and woman. Make it great again. So he's speaking from his devil nature. Sisters and brothers, the scripture gives us a I want to call mm, like a like a alarm that just looking at the scripture, it says and shares with us that the man of sin, the son of perdition, will be sitting in the leadership position in the temple of God. So it's no one, I mean, that is easy to identify who's sitting in the seat of Elijah Muhammad, the chief demon Legion, who in scripture also is styled as Aaron. Now, him and his student, Louis Farrakhan, and his student ministers has the attention of the original black man and woman here in America, and is using Elijah Muhammad's name as bait. However, the chief demon, Louis Farrakhan, has the Nation of Islam turned backwards and is worshiping the golden calf and has given them Scientology. And Rock Hubbard, he's not teaching the supreme wisdom lessons. Louis Farrakhan student ministers are doing exactly what the scripture shares, exalting him above all that is called God. His student ministers are consistently sharing with us that he has the heart of God. That basically what scripture shares, what the unsealed scripture shares, you don't have to listen to the scripture because this this he's above and beyond the scriptures. He's this new beautiful, intelligent, so-called man, and he's a devil. He is the seed of a devil. However, they're sharing that his heart gives him this. He's 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 gonna save everyone. He's forgiveness. He don't condemn his enemies, those that have of spoke against him. Just constantly trying to share with us and our people that we are to submit, forgive our enemies, do not take revenge, love our enemies, that we are wicked people. And our enemies are not going to be um judged for their actions. So, sisters and brothers, Louis Farrakhan, Aaron, the son of perdition, Legion, who is sitting in the seat, the chief demon, the son of Percival Clark, a white Caucasian false Jew from Barbados. Louis Farrakhan is a white, a Caucasian white blackface Jew. And he is the one that the messenger of the covenant is exposing and is mm. Now I can't, I don't have the scripture in my face to get it verbatim. So however, we have a way out. These we are under attack by all of our enemies to keep us from understanding that we're the true seed of Abraham and that we have been given a promise, land, a covenant from God. So, in all of this, Louis Farrakhan and our enemies are trying to call God a liar. And then we have false Israel, who has been set up by the devil, by Gog and Magog, and has stolen our identity, claiming that they're the true seed of Abraham, which is why false Israel is going to be destroyed first. Now, the doorway out, sisters and brothers, the doorway out is by our unity. The messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, Joshua, the Messiah, Daniel, the prophet, Master Suleiman has given us a detailed understanding of the unsealed scriptures with the Injil. Our unity, which is giving us a light to see that shares with us what we must do to return to our home. Now, that is to unify. First of all, we have to flee. We have to be aware to flee to the messenger of the covenant. Flee and when to the, let me say it like this. When we flee, we must unify and come together. We must use the five pillars of Islam as well as the Injil to overcome our enemies. We have to outthink our enemies. And in unifying, coming together in Hajj, we can prevail. We will prevail. Outthink and move through this time of unprecedented trouble or through this furnace, through this fire without being touched. So, sisters and brothers, that is what we need, what we have to do to return or yeah, to return to our land, which is the promised land or the land from the great river from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, which is Arabia.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Malik. All right, sisters and brothers. In addition to what Brother Malik has shared, one of the reasons why Farrakhan is blocking our vision is because our vision, the Abrahamic covenant, does not apply to him because he is not the true seed of Abraham. Arabia is strictly for the true seed of Abraham. We have the history to back it up. And so Farrakhan being the seed of the synagogue of Satan, Farrakhan is also, excuse me, there's some feedback. Give me one moment. All right. Farrakhan being the seed of the devil, the seed of the synagogue of Satan, this covenant does not apply to him. So he's totally against the covenant. The covenant is not for him. He wants to stay here in America. So, sisters and brothers, the term, they call themselves Jews, but they are not. They're the synagogue of Satan. They're false Israel. And I bring that up because the term false Jews, scripture says false is false Israel. That term Jew, that's implying they are insinuating that they are a part of the tribe of Judah, which is the top tribe. However, they're not. So it's a slang term that they made up and they're calling themselves Jews. However, they are not. So, like the rest of the Jews, they're in positions of power. Farrakhan is a black-faced Jew that's over the Nation of Islam, a black organization, if you will. And his mission is to block our vision and guarantee the destruction of the original nation, which he will not be successful. All right. And then in addition to that, these devils are dealing with us shrewdly, sisters and brothers. So they're doing all of these things right in front of us in such a way they're deceiving us and tricking us. They have already planned our destruction, and they're carrying out dress rehearsals right before us with what we see in the Middle East with the Palestinians and false Israel carrying out mass genocide, abominable destruction of the Palestinians right here in America, ICE rounding up those who have black skin. First, it was the Hispanics, Mexicans. Now they're straight rounding up. In Minnesota, they have already started attacking black people. So they're doing dress rehearsals right in front of us, sisters and brothers. And they have already, not only have they classified us as their food source, however, they have also legalized using military force on U.S. citizens in any, if they even suspect our unity and our rise. So this is what we're up against, sisters and brothers. These devils are dealing with us shrewdly. They do not want to alert you to what's taking place. They don't want to even tell you how much trouble America is in right now as a result of the war, the economic strain that America is under. So, you know, they haven't planted the crops that they need to plant in the planting season. Some farmers are taking a year off of planting. So that must mean that it's going to be a year off of food just based off of that right there. And America's not making it clear because they're dealing with us shrewdly. They cannot alert you, sisters and brothers, to what's really going on and the severity and how critical this time period that we are in. So, sisters and brothers, I'm going to open up the floor to our panel for final thoughts. All right. So, sisters and brothers, as we close out, understand that we have a door out of America's destruction, as Brother Malik identified. Sisters, warrior queens, you will be protected and secured. All right. If it wasn't for your sacrifice and your dedication to the true seed of Abraham, we would not be here today to receive our reward. These devils tried to rape our seed out of existence. Louis Farrakhan is the result of the rape of the Black woman. And we are plagued with demons, half devil, half man. These devils tried to rape our seed out of existence. They raped us relentlessly around the clock. However, we did not allow them to be victorious in that battle. We overcame them. These devils did not win that battle. So, sisters, we have a winning streak. We have been victorious before, and we're going to be victorious again. So this is a moment to highlight the sisters as well and let you know that your way, your path to the promised land, sisters and brothers, sisters, warrior queens, is paved in gold. And your dedication and your efforts has not gone unnoticed. If it was not for you, we would not be here today, and we would not be able to even fulfill the covenant. So, any other thoughts from the panel? All right. All right. Thank you, sisters and brothers. That brings this segment to a close, and we will be back with more. Assalamu alaikum.